Hello student, this is the fifth part of the chapter, the story of village Palampur, and after having discussed the two concerns of the factor of production and related issues, that is land and labor, we are moving to the next topic, that is 6, and it is given on your NCERT book page number 9, heading number 6, that the capital needed in farming. I hope everybody understand that doing agriculture production farmer needs money also, and especially in the modern time when we are using modern farming method, more money required. If you compare the present modern farming method with the traditional method, earlier money was of course required, but it was not to the great extent. Reason, various things were provided to the farmers naturally, like manuring. Farmers was not supposed to make the spending on the purchase of the capital for purchase of the fertilizer. I'm very sorry. Second, farmer was also not supposed to do the lot of irrigation work by making the electricity consumption. It was quite naturally done, sometime by the rain or sometime the canal was made, what was helping them to get the enough irrigation. And the seed, it was always available to the farmer. But having learned about the nature of the modern farming method, we can say that lot of money is required now. Reason, high yielding variety seeds are being designed or manufactured in a manner that for every time new crop has to be produced, farmer need to purchase the seeds again. Number one. Number two, they need to purchase lot of expensive fertilizers and pesticide to keep their crop safe and produce more and more. For that again they spend money. And third thing, that you have already studied, that high yielding variety seeds gives good productivity only when they are being provided with lot of water. So irrigation means lot of electricity bill that they need to make the spending on, and that's why we can say that modern farming method used modern times need lot of spending by the farmers. Now question is, who can spend money in the Palampur and who cannot? We can easily guess that those farmers which were mentioned in your textbook in earlier part, which where the land was less than 2 hectare, may not be in a state that they are going to spend on their own. So what option they have left with? Either to borrow from the landlord or to borrow from the money lender, or third option is that they should be going to the market and get all these product on the credit basis. So that is why farmers, those who do not have very good capital, is always in a state of struggling for arranging the capital. Now who can spend? Large farmers, of course. In Palampur we have discussed various cases. One of the case are already given on this page, we shall be discussing little earlier. Large farmers can easily spend on that because they have enough capital to them, and that's what help them to do the agriculture production, and they remain at the competitive edge compared to the small farmers in the society. In this page number 9, there is a box where the story of a small farmer Savita is already being explained to you, just to realize that what problem a small farmers can have. Look, Savita, it is mentioned, has 1 hectare of land, and on 1 hectare of land, if she want to produce wheat or any other crop, she need to have some capital that she do not have. So she actually borrow money from the same village. There is a landlord, Tejpal Singh. Tejpal Singh agreed to give the loan, but what condition? Pay attention to this. 24% is the rate of interest for 4 months, and you people are aware that rate of interest is always calculated annually. So you can say that this is 72% per annum is the rate she will be charged against the money she is going to borrow from Tejpal. Second, it is not the only terrible condition, another that she has to be compelled to work on the Tejpal field. So you can expect what situation for her will be. She will take the money, borrow the money, so she is compelled to do the work on her own field. Then she is supposed to go and fulfill the condition of working at a very less wage, that is 100 rupees per day. Probably that's mentioned, I'm not sure what is the amount, let me cross check. Yes, she is being paid 100 rupees per day. And then she is also mother of the three children, so she has household responsibility. You can imagine what would be the condition of this lady. This is an example given that borrowing the loan and doing agriculture production is not an easy job for the farmers, so that for future they can make some good productivity and can get rid of this poverty and miserable condition in future. Even that is difficult. Now your book has provided 3 to 4 paragraph to you, because we have understood three natures of the factor of production, three factors of production with their nature: land, what problems land has, labor, what are the conditions of the labor, and what the capital is. Now you have acquired certain knowledge from your textbook and whatever explanation being made so far by my side. From my side it is explained to you. Now it is your job, because in this paragraph certain places are left blank, means book is wanting you to do the fill in the blanks using your skill, and when you go back to your school, discuss with your teacher that what entries are being made by you is okay or not. This was the first thing. Now your next condition, we are moving to the last subheading, that is surplus. The capital needed in the farming we have discussed. Now your next condition is on the page number next page. It is provided sale of surplus farm products. Sale of surplus. So now question is, what is surplus? Probably it's a new word in this chapter. So let me define. Surplus is something what we find after consuming something for our own need or for our family need. You do understand that farmer produce the food and cash crop, so they are not expected to go market like those people like me who do not have any rural background. So for everything I need to go to market, be it any agriculture product, I need to go to market to purchase it. But do you expect farmer is likely to do the same thing? I don't think so. Reason? When he is producing himself wheat, paddy, rice, pulses, etc. So for his family need, what he would be doing? He will save certain amount for his own consumption, and then remaining amount he will be able to sell in the market. Your book has mentioned that Tejpal Singh used to produce 350 quintal of wheat, which is a huge amount. Anyone can expect that this is not the amount his family will consume all. So he will do the same thing. He will keep certain amount for his own consumption, for his family consumption, and remaining amount he will go to nearby market at Raiganj and sell in the market and make that good money. How this surplus will be helping for the big farmer? Now what money he will earn, he will keep in the bank. Bank will provide him interest against the deposit being made, or if not in the bank, he will be in a state to give the loan to those who are coming to borrow the money and will charge high rate of interest. This will help him to earn furthermore and improve his situation. And he can also bring the good infrastructure for himself. That's another story. Good infrastructure means every year for his productivity to be better and better, he will purchase good quality of seed, he will purchase tractor, he will purchase better pesticides, so his productivity will increase and he will be selling more and more. That has been explained. Do you expect the same thing from the small farmer? When they are not producing good enough that can fulfill their family's requirement, sometime even not fulfilling their family requirements, so they need to borrow the cash from the money lender or landlord and purchase to fulfill the requirement. So only big landlord is in a condition to do this thing. Now moving to the part where you are being provided this to explain and you are being provided three table which is not filled by the book itself, only you are being provided a condition, and this is mathematical in nature. So I would like you open page number 11, and I am also solving with you just to help you that out of three farmer, who is the rich one and how surplus makes the difference. Please open the page number 11. I am also going to this page. It is page number 11 where it is mentioned. I am reading it for you. Let it read along with me if possible. You are being asked that let us take the three farmers, each has grown wheat on his field through the production in different, that is being shown in column 2. There are table and with certain column. The consumption of wheat by each farmer family is the same. Now consumption, we have assumed that every farmer's family is doing same, but production is not. Production is different. And second thing is the whole of surplus wheat, what is being surplus, you are now being explained. Surplus means passing to the next year. So that surplus is being used for the next year production, and it is assumed that suppose production is twice the capital used in production. So let's sort out how it is. For the first farmer, there are 3 years in each category is given. It is 4 columns. Let me show you. You have your textbook, so you open that. Production is the first column, then second is the consumption, third is surplus, which is being defined mathematically. Simple formula is production minus consumption is surplus, and that surplus becomes capital for next year, and when this capital pass to another year, it is being multiplied by 2. Now you can do it mathematically yourself, but let me do and help you how farmer 1 is becoming richer by richer every passing year. His production is 100 unit. It is not written what quintal or what kilogram. It is only 100 unit, and consumption is 40. So 100 minus 40 is equal to 60. So his capital saving for the next year is 60. And book has mentioned that by the next year it will be multiplied by 2. So next year it is 120. 120 minus 40. So this year his surplus production will be 80. 120 minus 40, I am repeating, 80. 80 is the capital for this year, which will be passing to third year and will turn up 160. Now 160 minus 40, 120. So capital for the next year. Now assume the fourth year, this 120 will become 240. That's how this person will continue to become prosperous. That's farmer like Tejpal Singh, shown as farmer number 1. Move to farmer number 2. Here you will find interesting situation. Data has been decided by this textbook in a manner that there is no growth taking place, neither growth nor any downfall. Another case is farmer number 2, where production is only 80 unit. So 80 minus 40, consumption has been same. So it has been told 80 minus 40, it means surplus is 40, capital for the next year is again 40. 40 multiplied by 2 in the second year, 80. 80 minus 40, surplus is 40, again capital 40, you multiply it again by 2, come to third year, again it is 80 production, 80 minus 40, again surplus is 40. So even if you will move to another 10 year, you will find this data is not changing. So that gives an idea how this farmer will never be making a growth. This could be a small farmer or someone who is not in a state of moving growth. Now find farmer 3 in a pathetic condition. He will be in a debt trap situation, because you will now find what the data will start coming into negative, and being the student of mathematics subject, you understand that negative means loss. This time production is 60 and consumption is 40. So 60 minus 40, students, 20 for the first year. Capital is also 20. Next year it has to be multiplied by 20. So this year 40 production and consumption 40. So what is surplus? 0. 40 minus 40 means 0. And then capital for the next year 0. And then production 0 means third year this gentleman has to borrow the money. So you can say that is negative. And here onwards, if he will continue to do this, he will be in a situation that you will study in the later chapters of this textbook, that is called debt trap. We will be discussing even in class 10th in the chapter globalization, money and credit, where the situation of debt trap will continue to be this part. So you go through and find out. I have decided that before I move ahead, I should be discussing with you. You kindly have your textbook and go through this. Student, now because this video is now 14 minutes, I would like to say goodbye to you, and our last video will cover the non-farming activity in Palampur. We know that 75% of the population of Palampur is busy doing agriculture work. Remaining 25% do some non-farming activities. So that the next video will be the last video of this chapter, the story of village Palampur. Thank you, students.